I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night to wherever you're watching this transmission. This is I, Mike Martins. Thanks for joining me, guys. Americans are going broke. Yes, American people. Yeah, America itself is in huge debt. Overspending. Governments are obviously spending more than what they're taking in. And I guess kicking the can down the road as far as possible to, 3 generations down the road to take care of. I don't think it's fair, but Americans themselves are finding it really tough and having a really tough time making ends meet. And I got a few articles I want to throw up here and go over with you guys. Consumption's not going to work. A consumption-based economy won't work, and they need heavy production. And that's something we've been talking about on the channel here for a good while. Let's go to article scan. Here you go, guys, from Newsweek. Millennials control just about 4.2% of U.S. wealth, 4 times poorer than baby boomers were at age 34. So basically when the baby boomers were at age 34, millennials are having a really tough time making up that not even the wage income gaps. People are not getting paid nearly enough. Wages haven't kept up with inflation. So capitalism only works when wages keep up with inflation. And when wages do not keep up with inflation, guess what? You're left behind. And when you're left behind, you start seeing a more devalued currency, and you start realizing that your dollar isn't going as far as it used to. So there it is. So that's pretty brutal, because if you were a boomer and you remember being back at age 34, you had a lot more money in your pocket than what the millennials have today. And you would think that they would be a lot better off because they're so highly educated, or they just know more, Well, on paper, though. The millennial generation, people born between 1981 and 1996, make up the largest share of U.S. workforce, but control just 4.6% of the country's total wealth. See, I was born in 78, so I'm a Gen Xer. Baby boomers, people born between 1946 and 1964, currently control 10 times more the wealth than millennials, whose 72 million workers make up the most represented group in the workforce. Although it's not unusual for younger age groups to have less money than their elders. The average baby boomer working in 1989 during their early 30s had quadrupled the wealth of what millennials have that same age today. Now, hold on a second. Well, you go further back, it actually gets worse. So let's go back to 1901 to, let's say, 1930. A lot of people were having a tough time then, and if you wanted to show the buying power, you got your buying power of what the difference would be adjusted to inflation. People had a lot less back in 1901 to 1930 if adjusted to inflation, right? Then things got a little bit better in the 40s with the war effort, and then the 50s things were roaring again, like the Roaring 20s, and then in the 60s things really took off, and when everyone came back from those wars, they were just having a ton of children, and they were just producing, and they were exporting, and they were fabricating, and they were creating hard. People worked hard and earned their wages, and yeah. Anyways, 30s had quadrupled the wealth of what millennials have that same age today. 3 millennials, Mark Zuckerberg, Dustin Moskovitz, and co-founder of Facebook, and Walmart Hare Lucas Walton, hold over one of every $40 among their generation. Wow, that's a lot of cake, man. Boomers control the majority of U.S. wealth, $59.6 trillion, which is twice the $28.5 trillion held by Gen Xers, and more than 10 times the $5.2 trillion held by millennials. Millennials, who are the median age of 32 today, control just 4.6% of the wealth, U.S. wealth, far behind the 21% boomers had about the same age as a generation before. Those working young adults will need to quadruple their bank accounts in the next 2 years in order to match the financial share controlled by their parents during the late 1980s, when the median boomer was 34 years old. Wow. So I knew there was I knew there was obviously many gaps when it comes to movies, music, understanding, education, trends, all this crap, but I didn't think it was that gapped out like when it came to wealth. I knew what wasn't obviously in line, But when you look at it and you actually break it down, oh, here's a someone's Twitter here. Let's take a look at this here. It's from Adam Toes. So there it is right there. There's the generation and earlier. So going back here, oh yeah, here you go. There's the baby boomer wealth. Okay, and there's the Gen Xers in blue. And look at the millennials. Let's see if I can get that bigger. There it is, right there, guys. So here he goes. There's the silent generation and earlier. So here it is. So you see how it picks up from here? There's the baby boomer. Look at that. And then look at the Gen Xers. I'm in this little bracket here. And then look at the millennials. Holy smokes. So when you break it down to that kind of aspect and actually see it close up and personal like that, that ain't looking good. So Americans are going broke. And let's take another look here. 74% of households with children that made less than 100 large report facing serious financial problems. This is huge. This is from Basic Income Today. There's a couple of other other articles about this floating around, but I decided to choose this one. Back in early spring, Christian Yates worked as a quality assurance analyst at a marketing company and loved her job. I had one of the best jobs of my career, recalls Yates, 31, a resident of Chicago. Yates, who's a mother of 2 children, was motivated to move into a bigger apartment just before the pandemic hit because she wanted to give her kids more space at a time she felt like she was at the top of her world. Yates, among of the 60% of households with children across the country that have lost their jobs or businesses or have had wages reduced during the pandemic, according to poll released on Wednesday by the NPR, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. So here it is. Let's take a look at this thing here. So let's see if there's a graph here. This thing was 1 million pages. There it is. So this is serious problems. So there it is. Serious financial problems among U.S. households with children during the COVID. So there it is. Serious financial problems. So there it is. Latinos, blacks, whites, and then you have the brackets that are hurting the most. People in the $30,000 a year bracket are getting hit the hardest. 30,000 to 100,000 follow just behind, and then 100,000 plus 27 here. So there it is right there. That's in percentage. So there it is. That's huge. So this is in percentage. Used up all or most of saving, 44%. Serious problems paying off credit cards, loans, debt, 31%. Serious problems paying mortgage debt, 26%. Serious problems paying utilities, 25%. Serious problems affording food, 22%. Serious problems making car payments, 22%. Serious problems affording medical care, 19%. Other serious financial problems, 19%. I would have thought medical would be a little bit higher than that, but I guess I'm wrong. And here it is. More than 6 million households missed their rent or mortgage payment in September. Somebody sent me this morning. I was going to read it. I was just tired, man. Persistent layoffs are slowing momentum in the labor market, which bodes poorly for the broader U.S. recovery as millions of out-of-work Americans delay their mortgage and rent payments. More than 6 million households failed to take their rent or mortgage to make their rent or mortgage payments in September, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association Research Institute for Housing America, a sign that the economic fallout from the COVID is weighing on jobless Americans as Congress stalls on relief measures. So is there going to be another stimulus injection before the Olympics? I can't remember if there's going to be one. Over the summer, rent and mortgage payment collections improved as states resumed business reopening and more Americans returned to work. High unemployment, however, continued to place hardships on millions of U.S. households. The unemployment rate fell from 7.9% to 8.4% in August. The Labor Department said earlier this month. Overall, the economy is still recouping jobs in outsized fashion after shedding a record 22.1 million in early spring, but recovery is slowing. So there it is. That's a lot of people. Subprime, no problem. FHA mortgage, FHA mortgages is just insured mortgages. Uninsured mortgages in Canada's whatever C, and in the states FAH mortgages delinquencies hit record 17.4% as Fed triggers mad land rush in split housing market. So you're seeing a kind of hit and miss housing market right now in the United States. Atlanta Metro, 53,000 FHA mortgages are delinquent. Houston Metro. So again, when they say it's insured, it's not insured for the owner or the borrower. It's actually insured for the institution. The institution is basically insured by the FHA, right? In Canada, CMHC, that's right, CMHC, sorry. New single-family houses sales spiking 46% year over year. The highest price since 2007, with existing home sales jumping to the highest in 2006, and with prices in many metros soaring to new records. And other end of the housing market, high-risk government-insured mortgages is falling apart, and delinquencies rose to another all-time historic high. So there's the Federal Housing Administration, FHA. I think that was put in by Woodrow Wilson. Was it Woodrow Wilson that implemented that? No, it was in the 40s. So it would have been Roosevelt. What is it, Roosevelt? Implemented this, which insures about 8 million high-risk mortgages with lower requirements, low down payments, low closing costs, and easy credit qualifying, it says. Reported that an all-time high record of 17.4% of its mortgages were delinquent in August, up from what had been an all-time record in July, 17% of having doubled from a year ago. So there it is. Subprime, no problem. Really? But FHA mortgages? I mean, those ones, those are the good ones. Those are the ones you're supposed to bet. You're supposed to bet the farm on those ones because those are the good ones. Delinquency soaring after federally backed home loans in Texas. Again, there it is. We saw the article there. Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, among U.S. cities are seeing the biggest increases in late payments on federally backed home loans. More than 17%. We already covered that, but look at that. Nice house. See that house there? That's probably $220,000. You want to buy that house in Vancouver, up in Canada, or in Sydney, Australia, or in London, England? $4 million for that house. Look it up if you think I'm kidding. And 40% of Americans only missed one. 40% of Americans only one missed paycheck away from poverty. So there it is. So this is from January 29, 2019. That's 40%. Now, what's it at right now? Millions of middle-class Americans are just one missed paycheck away from poverty, with 4 of 10 considered liquid asset poor, or without enough money socked away to cope with even a sudden disruption in income. And it could be a cell phone bill. You know how you get those weird cell phone bills for like $2,000, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" Well, that's what's going on. The findings from economic advocacy group Prosperity Now highlight the financial insecurity facing many U.S. households as they are seen during this recent partial government shutdown. So there it is. So there was a partial government shutdown, if you guys remember that, back in January of 2019. But 40% of Americans only one missed paycheck away from poverty. So, guys, I wanted to kind of throw this out there for you guys. I wanted to, Americans are having a really tough time, and now with the forbearance falling off, and basically forbearance is like, we'll just take what you owe us for these months you didn't pay. We're going to add it on the back of your mortgage. You're just going to continue paying, or you got to pay it in one lump sum. So sometimes people are like, oh my God, a lot of people didn't take the forbearance because they were worried they had to pay it in one lump sum. And that became a huge issue for a lot of people. They were misdirected or they weren't sure. A lot of people took the one where you could just go ahead and add it to the end of the mortgage and just add it to the amortization. So you add anywhere from 6 to 8 months, depending on how much time you've been off work. So that's what's happening, guys. Americans are going broke, and it's not easy to see this because, especially with the affordable housing in the United States that we covered here on Trends in the Market, like Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, Nashville, like all Texas, all the places you could live. If Americans only knew how much housing was in Canada in their major cities, and in the two major cities we have in Canada that have all the jobs, you are looking at, for a one-bedroom apartment, $650,000, $700,000. And for a house, a good detached, decent home to raise a family, you're looking at about $1.4 million to get into something, maybe $2 million just to get into anything. And Americans have it, like, they just have it so good. I just wish they could see. And in Australia is the same thing, in Sydney, Melbourne, all these major cities there. Some of the major cities, some of them like Perth are going down, and Hobart's going down now. But, you know, and then in the UK, you got London. Nobody from London lives in London. It's an empty shell. No one could afford to live in their own cities they were born and raised in. Yes, it's happening in California. Yes, it's happening in Oregon. Yes, it's happening in Washington State. That's all. There's a lot of laundered money going through there, and New York. So you still have a whole chunk of America where Americans could be free and earn a decent wage and stay within their means. Come on. And that's the more important thing, guys. Stay within your means. Guys, do a total debt service ratio calculator, cash flow calculator if you can. It's free. Go online and look for cash flow or TDS calculator, TDS or cash flow. See what you make, see how much you got coming in, and then see what you owe, and then break it all down percentage-wise and see how much you have left over for food. And then kind of break it out down from there. If you're looking to buy a house in the future, make sure you do your numbers. Do your cash flow. Make sure that if something like this happens, you're not going to starve to death or be on the streets, right? So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Americans going broke. What's going to happen? We're just, I don't know, what, 15 days away from the next, are we? Yeah, we're really close to the next election. And I got all kinds going on right now and just thinking about lots going through my mind right now. So don't forget to join us, guys. Let me go to Article Scan if you're still watching this. Let's go to Article Scan. Guys, don't forget to set your reminders for Trends in the Housing Market tonight. We got Jeb Smith and Michael Invests on tomorrow. And then we got Mike in the Night this Saturday. The race for the economy. This is going to be a big one if you want to call into the show. The week after on Trends in the Housing Market, we have Steve Soretsky. And then we're going to have a Mike in the Night Halloween special where people are going to call in and tell us their scary stories. And tell us the scariest story they have. Or everyone's going to get 10 minutes to scare us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and be part of the channel. Thank you.